You were never lost, you were never broken, and you were never even the character you were trying so hard to fix, improve, or awaken. So this post is going to be a little bit different than my usual videos. In my usual videos, I typically don't structure any kind of script. I just kind of riff off the top of my head for what I feel like's coming through at that time. However, in this video, I want to just simply read a post that I posted in a different forum not too long ago, maybe a week ago, and it seemed to go semi-viral and it received dozens and dozens of comments. People have been reaching out to me about it and DMing me about it. So it's obvious that something within this message potentially resonates. And so I'm just simply going to read it from my screen word for word, essentially, and see if it transcends the written word over to the spoken word on YouTube as well. I wanted to share a download I received on what enlightenment is. This is in the context of how enlightenment can seemingly be experienced both as a process and as instantaneous, and the mechanics behind the paradox. This is just my perspective from my realizations. Take or leave whatever resonates, and by no means am I saying that I'm enlightened. Enlightenment is a paradox. Just like separation is an illusion, so too is the concept that a separate self is even there who could become enlightened in the first place, let alone it being a real process. The only thing that truly exists in base reality is non-dual consciousness. So the question is, how does consciousness create the experience of remembering what it already is, aka enlightenment? Well, to create the idea of remembering, first it must find a way to forget. Meaning, it must find a way to conceal itself from itself so it can achieve the fully believed illusion of being something other than what it is. This is achieved by projecting and concealing itself with an ingeniously designed closed system, or the human body, so that it will temporarily take on the belief that it is the very system that it has concealed itself within. So from a very early age, the physical senses inform the brain that we live in a subject-object reality. Therefore, the core belief forms, I must be this person I can see in the mirror. On top of that, there are other people seemingly out there that I can interact with. Everything that appears only reinforces the belief of personhood and separation. At that point, the objective of the closed system has been achieved, because that is the point at which consciousness has fully taken on and accepted the belief of being a human, navigating a world of separation. So then what is this apparent process which we call enlightenment? Enlightenment as an apparent process could be considered as nothing more than the gradual opening up of the closed system, an unwinding of the belief of being a separate self, a remembering, a progressive unveiling of all of the concealments that have been put in place by consciousness so that it can reveal more of itself to itself, while still remaining within a realm of experience. In truth, the self was always there, a projected focal point of consciousness within the closed system, and that truth can still be seen even while closed in. This is often described as a glimpse or even satori. As the great sages and gurus say, just be, rest in the I am, be here now. This can be seen while the system is still somewhat closed. However, when that seeing does occur, it's usually fleeting and the belief of separation eventually takes hold once more. At this point, the energetic momentum in the belief of separation has the overriding force. It's too powerful to fully dissipate yet. The struggle with self continues. A kind of oscillation can play out for some time, depending on the momentum of the separation energy. The truth can be seen even for extended periods, but then the separation consciousness returns and we wonder where that sweet presence went and how to get it back. Permanent enlightenment occurs when the closed system opens up to the exact extent required for there to be such a complete seeing through the illusion of separation that no trace of the belief in being the separate self could survive. The concealments or seals, such as the third eye, crown, or even higher, open fully or are unsealed. It's seen that there was no separate self who could have ever become enlightened, as personhood in itself was only ever a belief that was accepted by consciousness as a byproduct of being within a closed system. An analogy could be considered much like if we were to create a holographic character and then project and conceal an aspect of our own consciousness within that hologram so that we could forget our true nature temporarily and take on the belief that we were the holographic character itself. There's no character truly there, only the holographic appearance of one. So what comes after enlightenment? Well, consider the idea that consciousness now plays the simulation from an open system, a transparency and a renewed level of conscious awareness or unity consciousness. Since physical experience can be considered somewhat of a reflection of consciousness, it could be assumed that the simulation might reshape to reflect a new type of gameplay experience, and that based on openness, authenticity, and oneness. And by authenticity, I simply just mean the expression more in alignment with the truth of one's true nature. Indeed, certain concealments of the self still remain. By definition, it's not possible to contain the infinite. Therefore, concealments still serve to deliver a point of consciousness with a focused type of experience that it can play in. Having never left, you return home.